And we are live. Hi, everyone. I hope you had a good Easter. I see in the chat we have our little early bird Binaka. Hello, Binaka.
Hola.
So, as I said, I hope everyone had a good Easter weekend. I know I didn't because I was sick for the whole damn thing. And not only did I get sick, but I also got the hurt mouth.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. No
So
kisses
that
in the
yep.
next coming weeks.
Yeah, so that was interesting the past couple of days when I was on screen. But luckily, I found a medication that worked, so it didn't turn into a ghastly pussy sore like they always do.
gross.
Managed to minimize that. So, Midnight. What about you?
Excuse me. I've just been working and fucking around. Canales and I played some Phasmophobia this afternoon.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I hate MMOs and I hate socializing. Yet that game gets me to do both.
Well, I hate socializing except when it's through Quake Champions because it allows me to frag everyone around me. So that's the kind of
Well,
socializing that I like to do. Just extreme
that's the
violence.
thing that makes this game good is that you have to cooperate. You can't
Yeah,
just
no,
run around and
no,
do whatever.
it's cool. It's cool. Well, I liked it actually. It's like it's pretty it's pretty immersive because it's I guess how it feels to be an actual like paranormal researcher because you have to go around and notify the rest of the team where you are and like what you're doing and shit. Hey, I allocated something else. Yeah, it was like I liked it.
I probably played maybe 4 or 5 rounds after you left, and I died probably 3 or 4 of them. I die a
Well,
lot in that game.
well, you're telling me I played 3 rounds and I died in two of them.
Yeah.
And I think I like to play as the ghost better because it's pretty cool. I go around like throwing toilet pepper to people's faces.
Hmm.
They don't know if it's me or the evil ghost. Then again, what's the difference?
Yeah, if only you could do that in real life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I should also add that we I also on last Saturday went to go see the Mario movie.
What did you think?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was pretty true to the source material.
Is it
Um,
true that it's light on story? Because everybody knows that Super Mario is supposed to be like the Godfather when it comes to story.
uh, sort of. Well, oh, my opinions only stem from like the voice acting because so obviously on Saturday I saw the Spanish dub.
Mm.
And then was it Friday night? I decided to try to see if someone uploaded anything with the English, and someone did put up a decent cam, and I watched that. And my only I can't give too much away because Omega, even though he's not on yet, he hasn't seen Mario Brothers yet, so I can't give out too much. But first off, um, Cranky Kong, the the old monkey from Donkey Kong games.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
In the English movie, he's played by Fred Armisen, but the Spanish actor who did the Spanish dub, I think he did a much better job because he actually sounded like. Cause Cranky Kong, he kind of talks like an old man because he's supposed to be cranky, a cranky old man.
Hence the
But Fred
name.
Armisen, yeah, but Fred Armisen's voice is like, "All right, let's get to the shop." Blah 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 blah. It's like it's
Well,
not cranky.
it's like Seth Rogen said, right? Seth Rogen said, right? Like he wasn't even gonna make the slightest effort. He was just gonna sound like him.
Yeah.
Because fuck you,
Well,
that's why.
and Seth Rogen, he was fine as Donkey Kong. He was fine. The Spanish guy, the Spanish dub was. I think the Spanish dub was better. Um, But the
Did you?
other thing
Was it the
was
Spanish dub from Spain or the Peruvian dub or South American dub?
Latin America,
Hmm.
most likely from Mexico, because that's
All
where
right.
all the dubbing happens. As Omega would attest if he would get his little brown ass in here. But anyways, where was it? Oh yes, the other gripe. So before I watched the movie, there was like a lot of people were complaining that Princess Peach is so woke when actually she wasn't that bad. She wasn't that insufferable like most female characters
I
are
mean,
these
I don't think there's been a single, which is one of the main reasons why SJW is full of shit. But I don't think there's been a single damsel in distress in movies for a long time. Because even in the 1993 movie, Princess Peach or Daisy was pretty like the last shot of the scene of the movie is her like holding up like a fucking bazooka and like
yeah.
those like bombs that they were in the game like in a belt
Speaking
around her
of,
like yeah. Hey, what's up,
hey
Omega?
Mega.
Hey, faggots. What's up? Ah,
Yeah, I was just telling them I'm not trying to give out too much, but I'm just describing how Peach wasn't as woke. But I mean, um, she was actually pretty much in canon because what was it? Saturday, I was with one of my students, the one who likes comic books, and I came across the old Super Mario Brothers comics, and they basically took they basically took Peach from those comics and put her in the movie because Peach is supposed to be tough because she's probably been battling Koopa for like a long time.
What would you say is the plot of the movie?
Well, the plot I got is like it's like a story about brothers. Like they
That's the theme. The is is the plot Mario and
plot outline,
Luigi go to save Peach from Bowser?
pretty much,
Okay.
but mainly it's more like they have to save like the entire Mushroom Kingdom from Bowser because it's not just Peach, it's like the whole Mushroom Kingdom.
So it basically like starts in Brooklyn and they go down the drain or something and they end up in the Mushroom Kingdom like in the game.
Yep.
or like
Pretty-
in the
yeah.
Got
cartoon.
it.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
in the cartoon.
Is
And
it
then-
Actually,
Is
I
it-
have been rewatching the old Super Mario cartoon, and Peach, the Princess Peach was pretty much one of the part of the team because she also was a problem solver.
Because, dude, it was from the 90s. It was the age of fucking Extreme Ghostbusters and in Captain Planet. Like, the
The
90s were
X-Men,
already PC. Like, the 80s were already PC.
the X-Men had
Yeah, like,
Rogue
X-Men,
Storm.
yeah.
as I said, I can think of a single damsel in distress from, like, in ages. That's like a 1950s trope.
Yeah, because even for example in Gargoyles, Elisa
Yeah.
Massa was part of the Gargoyles team.
Elisa was fucking hot.
Yeah,
Elisa was fucking hot. And she's
especially
like, she's a big booty Latina from Manhattan, taking down
especially
gangsters and criminals.
when she turns into a gargoyle. She's also
Yeah,
hot.
yeah, yeah. Oh shit, yeah.
Demon
Man,
Knight. Oof.
Gargoyles was the best '90s comic book, which wasn't a comic book because it totally felt like something out of Image. I don't know, it's like fucking Marvel, my Midnight Suns, Celtic gargoyles who turn into fucking cyborgs and I don't know troopers with plasma guns. That was fucking
And
awesome.
it has one of the most baddest villains.
Yes, Xanatos.
Yeah, Xanatos was
Xanatos
badass.
was fucking awesome. And I
Played
love
by
we completely derailed this conversation from Super Mario to Gargoyles. But Gargoyles was
Yeah.
awesome. And we
No,
need to talk
because
about
we're talking
that.
about a good written
Yeah.
characters, which is the key of the
Uh-huh.
movie.
Yeah. Like as I said, like we've been seeing tough girls in movies and shows and comic books. I mean, since I have memory, like Princess Leia was already a
Hey,
subversion.
Hey,
Hey,
Mr.
Paulo.
Porch. Hey, it's our porch goose, Palacosta. Princess Peach. No, no, no. Who? No, no. It was the chick from Gargoyles, not Princess
We're
Peach.
talking about Detective Elisa Massa from Gargoyles, the April O'Neil of Gargoyles.
So
Although
honka honk
I would
to our
accept
porch goose.
AOC dressed up as Peach.
Huh.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, right. No, no, no. Midnight. I should have tagged you because someone on 4chan posted like this fantasy about being AOC's sex slave, and I'm like, Midnight, were you drunk and posting on 4chan again?
Oh shit.
I don't know that I would ever want to give AOC any form of control over me. She has no idea what to do with power. Was it a good one?
Yeah, it was about like the guy like being kidnapped by AOC, and then she becomes the president, and she's also pregnant with this child, and then they fuck
I'm just
again.
saying, my
Makes me
horse
wo-
stays in the stable.
makes me
Yeah.
wonder if someone has already done a hentai of AOC. I mean,
Oh,
there is
you
one
know
of
there is one.
there is one
There
of
Oh,
there
Avian Hero.
probably is.
Rule
Remember
There
34.
Rule
has to be.
34. Rule 34.
Rule 34, dude.
Hold on a
There's
second.
hentai of everything. But the thing is, Midnight, what happens if we dress AUC in a leather fucking goth outfit with fishnets and,
I mean,
purple
she'll look like half
eyeshadow?
the chicks I tried to pick up when I was a goth in the 90s.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Will you still think the same about that? Like, would you still not be willing to relinquish control over this sexy
That
goth
doesn't.
chola
I
dude?
mean, she still is who she is. You know, she's still. The outfit doesn't change her inability to engage in self control of any kind.
All right, you passed the test. You passed the test, brother. You're good. I will holster my gun now. I don't have to take you out of your misery yet.
Your soul is pure. You shall pass.
Um I gotta shut my door quick, and then I'll be back, and we'll get into our topics, okay?
All right,
So
let's
talk
Alright.
amongst yourself.
let's
What
let's
what did you
continue.
see, Canales? Continue
What?
talking about film.
Oh yeah, I went to see this Russell Crowe movie, Pope's Exorcist. I don't know how it's called in English.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, about real life exorcist Father Gabriel Amorth, which is like a chief exorcist of the Vatican, a
Bro,
jolly old Italian guy.
I had no idea that Russell Crowe was in a movie this year.
Yeah, there you go. Neither did
Yeah.
I until like last week. That's why Oh shit! It's
Um,
a it's a Russell Crowe movie about the real life exorcist. Well, all right, then maybe may have to
I
check it out.
I think Nicolas Cage is also doing a movie this year, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Renfield. Those were my two options for
Renfield.
tonight. Renfield and the Exorcist of whatever. And I went with the Exorcist because the other one wasn't on like they didn't have like a midnight screening.
It's the one of the vampires.
How,
No?
What was that?
Nicolas Cage. It's about Dracula's Revenant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Nicholas
I'm
Nicholas
planning.
Cage
Don't.
plays Dracula.
Yeah, and I'm planning to see it next week. Whoa! Hey! Who? Who's this? Scrappy!
What's up,
Scrappy.
Scrappy?
He says I've had a chick change her thinking because she wanted to keep dating. She ended up more conservative than me.
Good, good.
I don't have
You
time
have
for that
the,
game.
Did you wife her?
you have the dick that cures liberalism. Congratulations.
Interesting.
I mean, dude, pretty much all dick cures liberalism. You know what I'm saying?
This
Like,
is
you just have
also
to
true.
you have to bring it to them.
Well, I'm the opposite.
Wait a second.
Opposite
Wait.
organs.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Okay.
I don't think you're curing Canales of liberalism though.
No, if anything, I'm becoming more and more. I'm gonna say Hitlerian, but maybe libertarian. Like I'm
As I
ready
said-
to join a Tennessee militia.
As I said, Paulo says based, marry her and knock her up.
Yes, you do that
Okay,
right.
I'm just gonna check something real quick. Jez, check the connector for your mic. Yo, I'm getting impedance noises.
Yep.
Yeah,
Testing.
there's a
Um,
buzzing going on in the background.
What?
So
So
It's like a buzzing
Better?
noise. Yeah, it's better.
No.
No?
Pull it out and put it back in. Canales, what is your final judgment on the Pope's Exorcist?
It's an enjoyable movie. Like it doesn't really do anything new. You've seen an Exorcist movie, you've seen it all. But at least it's got Russell Crowe as a surprisingly likable lead, and it's got some like surprising Indiana Jones esque elements because they have to like
Oh,
go underground and explore catacombs and like search long dead corpses for clues and shit. So and even some maybe even some Event Horizon nods here and there because like naked people covered in blood beating the shit out of you.
well, it sounds good. Sounds like it's worth watching.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm not gonna probably buy the DVD, but that was like 90 minutes well spent. I don't regret it.
Alright. What's this? And then he says, pull it out and put it back in her. Yeah. Do I
Yeah,
sound better?
it's
No.
pretty
No, it's
noticeable.
actually worse now.
Ah,
Yeah, he's
You may
worse.
have to like restart the computer or something. I don't know.
fuck.
So I don't know what it is. It could be a couple of things, but what I'm hearing is definitely like grounding or impedance. I'm not going to explain what that is, but the way to resolve that generally is it's a connector issue. You take the connector out and you make sure it's seated properly. I don't know what kind of connector it is, whether it's an 1/8 inch connector or
It's like your typical headphone jack, but
that's an 1/8 inch connector.
It's with the 3 bands.
Yeah, that's an 1/8 inch connector.
Yeah.
It's gone now though.
Yeah,
Because I
it's
plugged
fixed.
it out and just using my microphone on my computer. So now you get to hear all the lovely sounds of South America.
Well, like we didn't already.
Well, it's not bad to have some background environment.
All right. So I've been told to wiggle it. Well, maybe it might be that my headphones are starting to break down because they're cheap pieces of shit.
Isn't everything in Peru?
No, no, not usually. It's just I don't know. Maybe I might think about maybe getting a proper headset.
Well, it's an investment. Maybe one day I will have to fix my own fucking jack because I don't know what's going on. But I'm sure you know that one day my headphones just ceased to work on my computer for some reason. Like all cell phone, all headphones ceased to work on my computer. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like
So
a software issue or like a connector issue. I don't know. I can only use microphones.
maybe I'll test it out on tomorrow while I'm at work and ask and get some feedback from some of the people that I teach. What do we have for news? Let's start it with this one. So, like the whole thing with the Budweiser,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mhm.
whole Dylan Mulvaney. I myself, even when I was an alcoholic, I do not. I thought Bud Light was basically like like having sex in a canoe.
Fucking close to water, pa.
Yep. But
I have a lot of
anyway,
construction workers in my family and
mhm.
general social circle. Not like socialization circle, but like the social world that I am from. And the majority of them guzzle Bud Light.
Oh,
It's because it's cheap.
My stepfather drinks that shit like it's fucking water. He like every day for him is at least 8 Bud Lights in.
But for example, Cecil was saying yesterday that it's because it's cheap. Is that true?
yeah.
It is cheap. It is cheap. I mean, a lot of it is also
Can you get a
You-
12 pack? You can get a 12 pack for like roughly $12, $11,
Probably
depending on where
no.
you
It's probably
go.
like $8. It's probably like $8 for a 12 pack.
Oh.
Any beer that costs less than $1 per can, it's a
Yeah.
winning beer in my house.
You also have to think about it this way, right? There's a generation of people that are at this point, they're right hitting retiring age right now. The only beer you could get was like Bud Light, Budweiser, Coors, Miller,
Really
and maybe Heineken, maybe Corona. There were no microbrews at the time. Like that was all that was available until like 95.
like
Hmm.
You know,
Schlitz beer.
in the mid to late 90s, you had Sam Adams show up, and that's actually Anheuser-Busch might even own them. This whole
I know
thing
they
where
own
you get
Stella, which is a fucking bummer. It's my favorite beer.
is it?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
This
it's
is
the
from
favorite beer of the
Belgium.
Canada's household. My dad loves it. I love it. My grandfather used to love it.
Do you
Oh,
want to?
Well,
Do you,
I forgot the name. Canales, maybe you know it. There is a restaurant in Madrid who has a huge inventory of beer that you can order.
Huh. I know a couple of places in Madrid, but they're like mostly traditional Spanish food, like beans and chorizo and shit like that.
I
Yeah,
I will be.
because I just remember when I went with my family to Spain in 2009, we went to Madrid, and one of the restaurants we eat had the biggest uh, menu of beer. It has its own menu only for beer, and my dad and my aunt, who are huge beer lovers, love it.
Well, I need to Google that shit because I go to Madrid quite often because it's I've gotten to like the place. It used to be my least favorite Spanish city until it became the only Spanish city to resist the lockdowns. So I really
Okay.
enjoyed my time there.
well, for me, I'm not really a big beer fan. I mean, I'd used to find like the bottles of like the craft beer in the hotel when I used to work there and cleaned it out. I come home with a couple good bottles of beer, but I'm not really a huge beer drinker. Um, I I'm more of a hard liquor person.
Well, you're German, so no shit. Germans are into beer, right?
Yes,
Yes, yes, yes.
but I prefer like my rum and tequila.
Right.
That's what I well, especially when I lived in Mexico, I hit the tequila pretty hard and that shit
the,
was cheap. That's why I loved it. And I'm
beer
still
is generally a male drink. Women don't generally drink beer. I
well,
know, Troon, but
I
women
like
don't generally drink beer. They tend to drink like white liquors, vodka, tequila,
uh,
maybe rum,
Well, yes, you heard it,
very
man. Get
rarely
on with it.
gin.
Get on with it.
yeah. It, it,
It is what it is.
just the
That's
taste.
just how it is.
It's the taste. I prefer my hard liquors. Like what's that? I almost creamed in my boxers with Spaten Lager Paulo. Huh?
I've had that. Spaten. I've had that.
Spaten.
I used to work at a grocery store that sold it.
Mm.
Oh yeah, and Paulo Costa says I'm not a beer guy, but I do like wheat beer. When I got to Bavaria, Franzis Scanner is my favorite. I've drank a lot of Franzis Scanner.
Yeah, we have
Lot of it.
Francis Scanner here as well.
Well,
Pretty good.
when I worked at the hotel, I'd usually pick up either like the IPAs or when we'd have like the Mexican worker guys stay around, they'd usually buy like Modelo.
Hmm. I like Superior. I was only able to acquire Superior once in Mexico when I was there, and I don't know why I couldn't secure another fucking bottle. But I remember tasting it and really liking it. I like Mexican beer.
Yeah, it's good.
Hmm?
Do you want to play the video, Jazz?
Oh yeah.
Jazz.
So
Maybe we should.
whatever. Yes, I am Jazz, not Jazz. I'm not an overweight. I'm not an overweight adult whose mom convinced me to chop off my dick. Anyways, so our point was, so this person, Dylan Mulvaney, not a troon, uh, did a deal with Budweiser, and predictably, everyone lost their shit. Now, our boy James O'Keefe is gonna talk to Dylan about um, jail, about troon inmates.
I'm James O'Keefe with OMG News outside the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills. Dylan Mulvaney
Ugh,
is inside the women's restroom
so heinous looking.
right now, so I'm going to ask him for comment about our
You can
story
ask him
regarding women
based.
being raped in prison by.
No, do you know what Dylan reminds me of? He reminds me of a Barbie doll that came to life.
Well, that's what happens with a lot of, if not all, transgender people. They become not a woman, but a modern cultural image of a woman, because they all feel like none of them ever feel like an Afghani woman of the 1970s or a Japanese woman of the Edo period. They all
I would
feel magically like a modern hypersexualized woman. No?
I would love to see an interview with Mulvaney's mother so that I can get a read on her affectations and demeanor,
Hmm.
because it would explain maybe not everything, but probably most of it.
Wasn't
mean,
this guy an actor anyway? Wasn't he like in the Price
No,
is
no, no.
Fair right now?
He's a fucking theater gay. He was in the Book of Mormon,
Hmm.
and over the lockdowns, he decided that, ooh, I want to be a girl now. This is my first day of girlhood.
Oh,
Well, it was
so
progressive attention seeking. He
yeah,
tried
I know.
attention seeking, it didn't work. He tried
Yeah.
attention seeking, it didn't work, until he finally landed on the one that's fucking roulette for everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
and
basically,
now-
it's another guy who lost his mind during the lockdown, and at least it worked out for him.
Hmm,
He was always moving in this direction.
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, oh, sorry.
By men claiming to be transgender. Here we go. Dylan, this is James O'Keefe, OMG. Women are being raped in a prison in Washington state by men claiming to be transgender. There's footage of them talking about the rape. Do you have a comment on the story here of the women being raped?
No, I just
by
want to
the
point
men
out all
claiming
he
be
had to do.
transgender?
He's already what, probably 5 minutes past a reaction that would have ended this all immediately. You ready? Jez, be O'Keefe, I'll be Dylan. Confront me. I'm walking out of the bathroom.
Okay. Oh, hi. Hi, Dylan Mulvaney. This is James O'Keefe from O'Keefe Media Group. I want to ask you about the transgender, the reports of women, transgender women in prison.
Well, what do you mean transgender women in prison?
Well, you see, apparently, male criminals are now, who identify as women, are being sent to women's prisons, and now the women inmates are starting to complain that the men are assaulting them. What do you think about that?
I think that's absolutely fucking horrible. But listen, I'm on my way somewhere. I have to get there, like right now. You know how to find me on Twitter. Get in touch with me, and I'll give you a reasonable interview about it. Okay? Boom.
Okay.
Problem solved. Problem solved. What was the first thing that came out of my mouth?
I mean, I think it's the obvious response to that. Wow, that's terrible. I'm really sorry it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing you need to say.
But
Unless
in his
you're like,
fucked up head,
I don't think this person ever talks without the fucking script. That's the problem.
Well,
You know
yeah.
what I thought you were gonna say, Midnight?
what's that?
That the first thing that was gonna come out of her mouth was the smell of a penis.
Ooh.
Baby.
The what?
The smell of a penis.
The smell of a penis? Oh God, Jesus Christ! God damn it.
Penis breath.
This guy's
That's why I call him
priority
Dick Cheney.
is his own market position. He doesn't give a fuck about women getting raped by men in prison. He gives a fuck about himself. And all he can think is, this is bothering me. This is upsetting me. This shouldn't make me look bad. Make the mean man go away. He is absolute fucking slime. And I'm seeing a lot of people that should know better clutching pearls over this. Oh no, there's no pearls to clutch over this. That's performative, and that's because you're more interested in playing referee than you are in like being victorious for the side that needs to be victorious. Dylan Mulvaney is the face of troonery now, and people who go to prison, dudes that go to prison and decide I'm going to be a woman and then I'm going to rape women, they are now doing that with his backing. Yes, it is important. They are doing that with his encouragement. He is raising the profile and efficacy of their scam.
Yep. Therefore, we dubbed Dylan Mulvaney King, Queen of the Troons.
Until deposed.
The king of queen of peace. Anyone remember
Yeah,
that?
until someone more ridiculous comes along.
Do you wanna roll the rest of the video?
Sure, but yeah, look at this. Like,
this dude just gives a fuck about himself. It's really not that hard to say that you think that fucking being
James
raped,
O'Keefe,
anyone being raped
OMG
is terrible.
News. What do you think about the women who are being raped by the men who are transgender? Do you have a comment about that?
Please don't come in the elevator.
What do you think about? What is your comment to the women who are being raped by men claiming to be transgender, Dylan? So we're here.
That's his position on it.
Telling Troon.
Silence and make it go away. That's how much he gives a shit. That's important to know. That's the face of Anheuser-Busch right now. The face of Anheuser-Busch supports the rape of women in prison by men. There's nothing about exposing that isn't
here.
important.
Haven't had much Bud Light recently, but we're very interested in the women's prison. Dylan? Okay. She did go into she went into the women's restroom.
What the hell are you doing? This is a women's bathroom.
Trying to show them the footage. No comment here at the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills. All right. I wonder where she's going. He's going.
This part is kind of silly.
Do you guys have any like O'Keefe beer? O'Keefe beer? No O'Keefe beer? Do you guys have O'Keefe beer?
O'Keefe, which makes me think of.
The Petite doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I know, but when I think of O'Keefe, I remember. I know he's doing a bit, but when I think of O'Keefe, there used to be a beer brand called O'Doul's, and it was touted as like a non-alcoholic beer. And my dad's parents, my paternal grandparents, used to drink that shit all the time.
I remember O'Doul's.
Yeah.
You know, this reminds me of
5%.
Of the fact that El Bananero made his own beer and he's selling it all over Latin America.
Yeah. The Happy. The Happy beer.
Yeah, so he's basically El Biernanero now.
Yeah.
No, do you know? No, do you know what I found yesterday? While I was doing my exploring, I popped into like an Asian store and they have like an energy beer.
Oh boy, that's dangerous.
Oh, so
I'll post
it
it on the Discord later.
It makes you drunk and energetic at the same time.
Oh, that's what the old Four Loko was. I had some wild nights on that stuff.
That's fucking berserker mushroom brew, dude.
Midnight. Four Loko may be banned in America, but guess who got all the Four Loko?
Mexico?
We did. Dude, I walk into like the little mini market up the street and they have like all the beer and then Four Loko. They have the purple, they have the yellow, the gold, I think the green, the blue, and the red.
If I ever drink that stuff again, it might kill me.
I'm afraid. I'm
it will turn into a god. It's one of the two. Shit. Either kills you or turns you into a living god.
Yes, it's like power thirst. It gives you energy. Menergy. It's energy for men. Menergy.
You don't karaoke here? No one will get a shipment in?
Yeah, so that's.
I mean, that's silly, but like don't break the Pajit's balls. He doesn't know what the fuck you're talking. Like he
Yeah,
can't be in
what
on the
was
joke
that
because he
about?
doesn't know
It's
what
like,
you're talking about.
yeah, was it like fucking with the Pajit guy?
Oh, he's just
Yeah.
being silly. He was just being
Alright.
silly.
And the Vegeta's like, sir, I do not know what this cave spear is. I will check and see if it is in stock.
Efficacy is a real word. That is true.
Scrappy says that he wants to get back drinking tea.
Uh oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh no, do I have my first simp? No, wait, I
You-
have my second simp because
Don't
Canal says
you
that.
call
I am,
Scrappy
I
a
am,
simp?
I am your first and biggest simp. Everybody knows that.
Scrappy
Yes.
is not a simp.
Not yet.
No, no, Scrappy would be a concubine.
I gotta go.
What?
It's getting real
Oh,
weird
yeah.
in here.
Oh, okay. We'll
We're
stop.
being
We'll stop
silly.
talking about like fucking threesomes and shit.
It's a joke. It's a
No,
joke.
no, come back. Come on.
Come back, you
Is
weirdo.
it safe? Is
Yes.
it safe? All right, good.
Yes, it's
You're-
safe.
You're starting to act like Ethan Van Skyler. He does the same thing.
Me?
Yeah.
Ooh,
How
that's
dare
some.
you.
That's some.
How
that's
dare
some
you.
heavy wars, dude.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Yeah, but anyways, speaking of troonery, I think we were talking about this earlier, but commentary. Queer TV shows are disappearing fast, just when we needed them more than ever.
I don't need them, thank you. I have plenty of toilet paper.
I, you want to know something? Do you know who my queer people were when I was
Who-
growing up on the TV? Who I was growing up with? RuPaul, back before they fell off with the Drag Race.
Yep. I remember RuPaul. Actually, my mom used to like RuPaul.
Oh man, I loved watching the RuPaul show in like the mid to late 90s. I just
That shit.
adored her style. It was like, I aspired to be them. My mom's like, oh, that's a guy, you know.
Well, you know who my LGBT queer whatever fucking crew were when I was a young man, pre-teenager?
Who?
The cast from Ranma, the anime.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I love that shit when I was like, I don't know, 12.
Yeah, I
And
always yeah.
yeah, and
Ranma
thinking back,
half.
even back in the day, I realized, wow, is this about a man trapped in a woman's body who falls in love with another woman? I'm like, wow, this is like really, this is like. I always thought that Rumiko Takahashi was a lesbian. That's all I'm saying.
No, I think she's pretty straight.
I know, but it all felt like really, really gay, trans, and lesbian. Even
Yeah,
for me back in the day when I was a pre-teenager, and I was
Yeah, what other queers did I have growing up as a young closeted gay tranny?
C-3PO.
Oh, the Queer Eye guys.
Smithers from The Simpsons.
Whenever
Smithers
they
was
would
pretty fucking gay.
play Rocky Horror Picture Show on VH1.
Mm.
Uh,
Oh yeah, absolutely, Dr.
Tim
Frankenfurter,
Curry,
dude.
Tim
Uh,
Curry.
The guys from
See-
Village People.
Mm.
Oh yeah, the Village People. I was huge into Village People.
Elton John.
Elton John, yes.
They
Huge
actually
Elton John
came
fan.
here. The village people actually came here to play once, and they made the huge mistake of coming to the Basque Country and say we love Spain, leave Spain. So they immediately corrected it. Somebody gave them like an Ikurriña, like a Basque flag, and they immediately
Mhm.
waved it because they were fearing for their lives, and rightly so.
Yes.
We love
So
Spain!
what's happened is the reason that, first of all, I guarantee you that in the last 20 years, gay representation in media probably hasn't dropped below 20% easy, and they're 10% or less of the population. So they've always been above representation, and where they're at right now is probably significantly above representation. So there's that. But the problem is when you destroy IPs and make them unprofitable,
Yes.
the companies that produce them don't make their money back, so they can't afford to make more. These companies were only going to be able to afford to do this for so long, and now those receipts are coming due. Like, you have to be able to pay for the media in order to produce the media. Stupid.
Yeah. Well, anyways,
Shit's expensive to make.
The thing is what you said. Like, you can do whatever the fuck you want, but don't destroy IPs. And also, how can you properly make a show, like a genre show, that is actually about its character's orientation? Because a show about space robots and spaceship battles and shit cannot also be about some guy being about relationships, basically, whether it's
yeah,
straight
that's
up,
what happened to the reboot of Ultron.
yeah, or even what happened to
These rabid queer shipping fucks went crazy over two guys and like literally had a full blown ship that's sending death threats to like um the
Dispatch.
artist.
well, not even that. I was
Because,
gonna mention Arrow, the CW show, which
oh yeah,
started off fine. Like, it was okay. Then it got like actually good because it was really comic book like, and then it quickly devolved into fucking soap opera, and it stopped being about fighting villains in cool costumes, and it was mostly mainly about who was in love with and who regretted not dating who. Like, this is another genre. It's done
Smallville
from,
was like that.
yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, it's changing genres. It's supposed to be action, adventure, and silly fantasy, and it's becoming romance. It's not the same fucking genre.
Well, that's because not all of them, but the vast majority of them are lonely people who want their media to fill that loneliness for them. And it's
Because the
never going to do
romance,
that.
the romance was like really superficial, and like the conflict was like, I love you, but I can't be with you because I have to fight the bad guys. Well, you could stop fighting the bad guys and be with me. Like, what is this bullshit? Like, this
I
is
mean,
like
these people don't have a
girlfriends.
understanding of romance with any breadth. To them, it's
It's
really, to them, it's masturbation fulfillment. They don't.
yeah,
It's
it's like,
narcissism.
I mean, I'm not the biggest expert on relationships, but I've had my fair share of girlfriends, and I know what went wrong in the relationship. I mean, it wasn't like, I want to draw comics, and if I don't draw comics, no, dude, it's far more complicated than that.
oh, Wife was laughing about what you all speaking about last time. Y'all stream. She only wants me dragged back to the yard. Yeah, and then Scrappy also says I got pissed off at the last season of Shadow and Bones for pushing that bullshit. But anyways, the article says from the very first episode of the Owl House, a central message has been clear: embrace your inner weirdo. Us weirdos have to stick together, protagonist Luz Noceda says in the series premiere, rallying a group of oddball strangers to revolt against their unjust imprisonment, and nobody should be punished for who they are. Uh, so the declaration became increasingly reticent over the course of the show's 3-season
Oh,
run,
yeah.
which concluded on Saturday, and it broke new ground for LGBT WTF barbecue representation in kid-friendly animation, which the
Shouldn't be in the same sentence. Shouldn't be in the
yeah,
same sentence at all.
uh, nurturing a central queer teen romance, ew, in a world that embraces a full spectrum of sexual orientations and gender identities, double ew. And Mega, remember when you showed me the clip from this show Owl House about with the troon?
Which one? Because I have shown you a shit of them.
No, it was the guy who used to be a woman. He's like, well, I did like this special spell that made me a man.
Ah,
Something
that was
was
High
like,
Guardian Spice, not the
Yeah,
other
that's
house.
oh,
that.
my
Yeah, that's.
guardian spice.
I remember
Yeah,
that clip.
I see. That's how I couldn't tell the difference between the show and High Guardian Spice. That's how same they are in style.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You're
It's
right.
all the same character. I was actually talking about that to my dad earlier about the things that make me put down books while I'm reading them because I've gotten really old and tired. And if a book or a comic book doesn't like grasp me for the first 10 pages, I'll just put it down and move on. And one of the things is the same fucking character, which is an angry black woman who's incredibly competent at everything. And I was reading, I think it's the Ministry of Truth of Department of Truth or something like that. It's just cool. This is about conspiracy theories. Like third fucking page, I flip the book. I see this black woman smugly looking at a white guy dressed like a man wearing a pistol. And I'm like, nah, fuck this shit. I know where this is going because this is all the same fucking character. He always reads the same. It's same case here. Well, same fucking
Because it's
character.
themselves. It's
Yeah, it's
always
the same,
themselves.
or even the same fucking cheap, lazy archetype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when they write the devil, it's always the same guy. You guys realize that, except for like tiny exceptions, like the devil in, like, I don't know, Angel Heart or
All
Devil's
night.
Advocate, or it's always the same guy. Like they never try to do anything different. It's the same thing. It's fucking archetype.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Well,
Let's
it's the
move on to that.
same. It's like a narcissistic desire to, because when they see, like, they think of all these other kids as themselves. I formed this hypothesis a long time ago. There are only, like, I have to recount, but there are only 3 people to a woman, and I know that this applies to not just women, but we'll get to that. There's me, there's good daddy, and there's bad daddy. That's all there
Yeah.
is. Mom is me. Unless she's bad, then she's bad daddy.
Hmm.
Good daddy gives me everything I want, except for when I want discipline. Then he's good daddy. Bad daddy disciplines me when I'm being bad. You see how it goes? That's it. That's all there is. So
And
these people see
sometimes
these
that shit
kids,
turns me on. We gotta say.
and they they see that's me. That's me. All these people, like all these teachers that want to, like, indoctrinate students, it's me. It's
I don't
me.
know.
It's me.
Didn't
This is
didn't Sag
me.
didn't Sag bring something similar up about, I don't know if it was him or the guy from the Fourth Age, the difference between when a kid sees He-Man versus versus when a girl sees Barbie, and the kid's like, I'm He-Man, and when a girl sees Barbie, she says Barbie is me. It's not the same thing. It's like this like subtle difference, but
I
it's
think
like,
I think Ethan also mentioned that when he mentioned when she said the example of the Legos. You hear that when he went with Team Pool.
oh yeah, the gay Lego thing,
No,
Yeah.
no, that
whatever the
they
fuck
made
is going on.
they made an experiment with, I think, 25,000 kids, and they gave him Legos.
Hmm.
So the boy grabs the Lego of Batman and plays with it because he immediately identifies with Batman. So when you give it with a girl, she says, "How am I going to identify with this guy? I'm not Batman."
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's, if you think of the way that boys see Batman or He-Man, they think of it as like, I could be He-Man, but there are rules I have to follow.
Yeah.
I have to be like He-Man to be He-Man, otherwise I'm failing. But girls make the Barbie be like them.
No, and also Shane, I think it was Shane or it was John Melling who bring a good example of how some women are the ones who are ruining the comic book industry, because when you are a kid and you're playing with Batman and Superman toys, you pretty much respect the character. You keep them in
Right.
Yes.
character. But if
Yes.
later you, for example, your female cousin or your sister arrives to play with the toys, what did they do? They grab Superman and Batman and say, "Oh, we're gonna kiss, Batman. We're gonna kiss."
Hmm.
Yep.
And that's what we're seeing in comic books. They're making them gay.
I have sisters, man, and I grew up with this. It's so fucking crazy because it was something that I never thought that this dynamic would take over the fucking world.
I know,
Like me
right?
and my friends would be out playing a game, and along comes my sister or someone else's sister, and they want to play with us, and it's like, well, no, you can't play with us because we're playing a game you don't like. So they go and they cry to mom, and mom comes and makes us change the game to accommodate the crying
Yes,
sister.
yes.
That's what has happened.
That's
They
exactly what
won't.
happened to pretty much everything.
Yeah, they don't want to play the game that's at play. They want the game to play for them.
Scrappy says,
And
I've never been a He-Man. I learned sword work better than he ever did.
Well, I like this
And
guy.
you're man at arms.
Somebody send this guy a link. He's been talking about sidearms and beer and sword fighting.
I don't know, Scrappy. Let us know in the chat if you wanna enter, be on the show. You
I'm
wanna
just
be a
saying,
special
I'm not in
boy.
charge of the show. You guys decide. I'm just
Me
saying, like
neither. I'm actually one of the guests for
this
saying
guy's pretty
something.
fucking interesting. That's all I'm saying.
You too
Okay.
could
So
graduate from observer to guest host like a mega.
they are destroying media because they are destroyed people, and they want
But
the media
yeah,
to reflect them.
You
yeah.
know,
As it says,
when I was well, it's also that and like that this the weird sexual fetishes because I remember
Mhm.
when I was drawing Transformers fan comics back in the late not noughties to early 2010s. There was a very vocal subsection of Transformers fans in the message boards I used to hang around who were like into how do Transformers have sex and reproduce? Do like bang each other with giant glowing energy penises? And can Optimus Prime get pregnant from Megatron? And it's like stop fucking talking about that, you filthy degenerates. They're fucking space robots. They don't have sex.
It's
don't forget
because
they made RC trans.
the only way they know to express affection is through sexuality.
Yeah, it's like that's another thing that I've noticed. Like you can be good friends with someone or have a good relationship with someone if it's not
Yeah.
purely sexual. Like
Oh my
if
god,
you're not gonna get any gratification from that,
that
it's like a
that
pretty fucking
reminds me.
sociopathic way of thinking.
Yeah, it reminds me. It sounds like the movie that I haven't seen it yet, but there is this movie called Luca. It's about like
Oh
takes
yeah.
place in Italy. It's about these boys who are like sea monsters, but they disguise themselves as humans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh my god, they're so gay for each other, gay, 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 gay!" And I'm like, "No, you fucking idiots! They're best friends. Two boys can't be best friends without wanting to bone each other."
They
Yeah.
don't know
yeah,
what
Even
friendship is. They
yeah.
don't
even
know what
the
friendship is.
the
Captain
director
America
had
and
to
Bucky
come
are
out.
not gay. They're just very good friends. That's a thing that happens among people.
Yeah.
They can't be friends with wanting to bang each other. You fucking degenerates.
Yeah, but would you? Yes,
Uh, what he says, Scrappy.
I'll holler at midnight. He and I have disagreed on things. I'm glad I can listen on the talking back and forth. So I don't
Got
know if you,
I got my email open if you want to send me an email. Scrappy.
yeah, if you want to come on, you're more than welcome. Let me get. Let's see. Let me get back here. So, the Owl House debuted in 2020 at a time when LGBT WTF barbecue visibility on TV was on an upswing, thanks to the efforts of queer creators on shows such as Steven Universe, What a Dumpster Fire, and She-Ra and the Prince of Power, another dumpster fire. Queer characters were
It-
increasingly front and center and thriving on screen, even in kid-friendly animation. And although Disney had long been criticized as behind the curve compared with other studios when it came to WTF barbecue representation, the company's own employees pointed to the track of when calling out the company's initial response to Florida's so-called "Don't Say Gay" bill, which is not the fucking thing. It was the Don't Say Gay bill was you don't teach sexual education to children below third or fourth grade.
It doesn't even say don't teach sexual education to children. It just says don't send some filthy Portland type hippie guy to jack off in front of my kids. At least until they're of age. You know?
Yeah, that's for college.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Let's see.
that's also why. I mean, look at our military's fucked. Our military's
Yeah.
fucked right now.
Yeah,
We're in a lot of trouble.
we'll get into that in a little bit. But I'm just looking for anything else in this article before we move on. Owl House is more than a collection of representational milestones. It's fun, funny, heartfelt series that celebrates individuality,
Sounds like
family,
cancer to me.
kindness, and
Yeah.
creativity set in a creepy, vibrant world. But
And
it's
you know,
legacy.
and you know what? You know the one thing I'm pretty fucking sure they don't celebrate individuality, because I know
And the
all these
family.
motherfuckers are, yeah, they're I know they're all like deeply collectivist, and this is why they're talking from a collectivist point of view. Oh, the LGBT collective, it needs representation. I don't
The
identify as a straight collective. I identify as an individual.
No,
the
actually,
purpose.
they mention about this slogan of the old house that the weirdos have to stick together. And I talked with Jess about that topic in the past that I actually don't agree with that because not all the weirdos think the same way or
Right.
actually like each other. And that's one of the things that Daria pretty much set up because in one occasion they asked the creator why Daria and Jane don't hang out with the god chick because the three of them are weirdos. And they state because in the real world, weirdos don't like each other because they are different.
We are not social people.
Right.
I
Right.
describe
I
myself
hate
as a weirdo. I am not a
95%
social
of
person.
all the. I hate 95% of trans people
I
The
hate
unless
95%
unless I
of people.
find someone just as based as me or in the same vein of like Blair White and Buck Angel and no dice on that.
but it used to be a thing where you would hang out with people that weren't into the same things as you. Like I hung out with jocks in high school. I hung out with like black people, Spanish people. Like the it sounds kind of trite, but the whole. Do you guys remember the Judgment Night soundtrack? Do you remember when
Oh
the
yeah,
rock
that's a
rap thing,
fucking
the
great
metal
movie.
rap? There was that
Yeah.
sort of thing where there was like a metal rap thing where people who were from
Yes.
disparate interests did spend time together and accepted we're not going to be the same. We're not going to think the same thing. We're not going to have the same positions on things, but we're going to find things in common so that we can get along. That is
Like
possible. That
fucking
was a thing.
Biohazard.
Yeah, exactly. That
Biohazard's
was a
fucking awesome.
thing.
But now if you don't like conform, you are automatically labeled an is
And that's
an
because
istaphobe.
the collective the whole collectivism thing, weirdos gonna stick together thing, what it actually was every one of you has to do what I want so I can get what I want. And they all just said that in unison and then homogenized.
Mm-hmm. What else?
That's
Is
the
there
difference
anything more?
between a cult and a culture.
Mm. That's very well put. I'm impressed.
Anything else? Times have quickly changed. Most other standout WTF barbecue centric animated shows have concluded or have been canceled. States have the past or propose an increasingly number of anti WTF barbecue laws, including those that prevent any mention of sexual orientation and gender identity in the classrooms, ban gender affirming care. This is all for the children. Okay,
Yes, yes. Let's
this year,
sexualize children. That's a very fucking
this
awesome
year,
idea, isn't it? Fucking
this
terrible.
year is for the children because the thing today, people are trying to sexualize children. That's their end game. This part is because remember when the dad freaked out in the Virginia school?
Hmm.
This was because a boy in a skirt using the restroom assaulted his daughter in the
Yep.
school
Yep.
bathroom.
And
And
what
you'll
did they
see
do to that guy?
They beat him up. They silenced him. They
No,
had him arrested.
they didn't beat him up. They kicked him out, and I think they arrested him.
Yeah.
So that tells you what's actually going on.
Yeah, and the whole sports thing is because, well, it's been proven time and time again, women women in quotes, are outstripping other women, breaking records, even though biological women have been training all their life to be the best at their sport. And then one day a man says, you know what? I'm going to take these estrogen pills and get a boob job. Now I'm the queen of the world.
And all of this is happening because women invited it in. This is all because of women's herd mentality and their absolute compulsive need to be in the herd and to be along with the herd. So they went along with all this stuff for years and years and years and years because none of them wanted to be outgrouped. This is what that led to. The weakest and most conniving men among us realized, okay, here's the skin I have to walk in to get what I want. And none of these women will disagree with me because they're too afraid that they'll get outgrouped for it. That power base exists because women gave it that power. So where we're at is they have to fight. Women have to fight it now. And if they're not going to, they're going to lose it. There's nothing that men can do to help them. You're on your own, ladies. Welcome to what it's like being a man. You're on your fucking own. Fix it or lose it.
Yep. I was trying to explain that to someone who was someone who transitioned to a woman. It's like, and they asked why I still identify as trans if I'm not gonna like do all the hormones. And then it's like, you just get what I learned hanging around with you guys is like you have to accept things that you can't change.
Yep.
You have to just push on.
You are what you are, man. There's, the Popeye slogan is good. I am what I am. There's nothing I can do to change that, but there's things that I can do with it.
As I told my good friend, this friend that has come visit us from Valencia, has been staying in the Canal Cape. I just play with the cards that the good Lord gave me.
Yeah.
Anything? I don't know. I don't think there's anything else unless we this could be like a whole this article can be like a whole show unto itself.
Maybe if you overcomplicate it, they're going to lose money.
Yeah.
That's all. Until they force people to give them their money, until they force people to watch it, until they force people to buy stuff on their advertising, which they want to do anyway.
Because
they're going to lose money.
I'm trying to think who said that whenever you have like a brand and then a certain set of people force the brand to change to their specifications, and then when the brand says, hey, we changed for you, the people who wanted the brand to change was like, nah, we're not going to buy your product.
Oh, that's what women did to comic books.
Yeah, someone said that, and I don't know who it was.
Change comic books to change comic books to a pieces. Okay, comic books have been changed. Are you gonna buy them? Ew, no, comic books are for losers and nerds.
Yeah, someone.
Part of that is the problem with the corporate people have this stupid idea that you can have not just every customer on Earth, but infinity customers, and that's impossible. But what happens when if you're a corporate guy and you tell your boss, hey, we can't have every single person on Earth as our customer. What does that boss say? That boss says you're fired.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible.
Because corporate people are fucking really, really, really stupid and compliant. That's the only thing they have. That's the only skill they have is compliance.
I would say that the corporations are like governments. Once they get big enough, they become stupid and ineffective enough.
It's a cycle, and it's there are ways that it can go, but you run your company into the ground when you refuse to acknowledge the reality of what customers you can have. The guy that makes the best crescent wrench on the planet will only ever be able to have as many customers as there are people who actually use wrenches. Beyond that, there's no customers to be had. So if you try to sell your wrenches to people who don't fucking use wrenches at the expense of the people who do, your company's going under.
Yeah, bringing it back to the whole dilemma of anything. how many queer people, how many trans do you see drinking Bud Light?
Kill. We could
Very few.
ask. We could wonder how many black transgender people read. I don't know. Captain Marvel. 3 in the
Zero.
entire whole world. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
being generous. I'm gonna say 3, but like I don't know. In the entire world, like aren't comic books niche enough that you have to make them even nicher?
But the people who took over it thought that they'd sell them to people who really wouldn't ever want to read comic books. Like they'll buy one issue in their life because it's a popular thing to do, but they'll very
Yeah.
quickly be distracted from it.
Oh, and by the way, there's been queer and lesbian and trans comic books and creators for a long fucking time. I can think of Ralph Koenig, who's like a German strip artist who like actually makes comic books about like how it is like to be gay in Germany, and it's pretty good actually. It's got a couple of movies done out of its comics, and yeah, they're not superhero comics. People who read Ralph Koenig comics don't read Captain America.
What
And
years was he writing?
what? Sorry.
What years was he writing?
I remember discovering him in the mid 90s in a Spanish comic book magazine called El Víbora, but I think he's been active since at least the 80s.
And he was
like,
writing West or East Germany.
it's a good question. I I know he mentions life as a gay person in East Germany in a comic book. Actually, it's a
Oh,
pretty good comic
really?
book. Yeah, it's one that I like to bring up a lot in conversations because it's this old gay gentleman listening to these two younger gay people complaining about the persecution that gay people suffer. This was in the 90s, remember? And the old guy goes like, "Shut the fuck up! Like you haven't faced persecution. I have faced persecution in fucking communist Germany. It was illegal to be gay.
Yeah.
You like really fucking easy. So stop fucking whining." That's what's basically
Being gay in
the punchline.
in pre-unification East Germany must have been fucking insane.
Yeah. Here's the
Yeah.
thing: comics don't really like gay people. They never did.
Okay. Good night, Porch Goose. I'm going
have
to
a good
bed.
one, man.
Early morning.
Good
Thank you.
night.
See ya.
Have a nice
Night.
night, Paulo. Let's be out
So
December
yeah,
long, so we got
this guy had a movie called have a movie made of one of his comics called The Killer Condom.
Oh
And
god,
that's
that was Ralph Koenig. Okay, that's
that
funny.
was Ralph Koenig. Yeah, that's probably like his most famous work. So people
That's
who
funny.
read The Killer Condom don't read fucking X-Men. You know, they don't like that genre. It's another genre entirely. It's
No, they read
comic
like
books
Love
with
and
gay people.
Rockets, maybe.
Yeah, stuff like that. And like, oh, remember that that comic, that book cover that I sent you while I was in Brussels.
Oh,
There's like,
the one with the bear guy, the
yeah,
massive.
it's called Massive, and it's a book among others compiled by Chip Kid, the guy who drew the Batman. I think it's called Architecture or something like that, a graphic novel, and it's a compilation of gay Japanese comics about like burly gay Japanese dudes. It's like a
Bara.
genre. Yeah, it's like a genre into itself. So I'm pretty sure that people who want to read about being gay will read that sort of comic books. They won't read superhero comics. And trying to turn superhero comics into that, as I said earlier on, that's a fucking genre shift and that's a mistake.
But well, that's the reason why Joe Glass struggles to make money every month.
Yes, because Joe Glass is making superhero comics for people who read Ralph Koenig comics. And people
Yeah,
who read Ralph
that's
Koenig
actually
comics don't fucking like superheroes, dude.
Mm-hmm. And Mega, I still hate you for sending me a Joe Glass's little profile about him until he removed a certain piercing.
Yeah, but I told you a very
God, I
interesting
don't-
story.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I compensated with that story I told
good.
you.
But yeah, so Joe Glass says that he likes Coca-Cola, and I'm like, oh, he looks like the kind of guy who would drink Diet Coke or Coke Zero because it's healthier.
that's funny. You know, I do have to say, this is relative to the rainbow topic we're having right now. But as far as
Yeah.
Mr. Beast is concerned, I called it years ago, but I called it like a week ago too. I called it with Mr. Beast. I knew not to
Yep.
trust Mr. Beast. I
No,
knew it.
no, not Mr. Beast. It's not Mr. Beast. It's a guy who like works for him, girl now, and he
They're
also
both
had
fruit of the
family,
same
he had
rotten
wife
tree.
and kids, and now he's a troon.
Listen, if there's one thing, I did a lot of charity events. I did a lot of them, and most, and I'm saying most so that there's room for me to be wrong if I say all, but I would like to say all. They're money laundering. They're scams. They're make work. They're rent seeking. Everybody engaging in public charity is doing so as a PR expense.
Sure.
Think about it. We were talking about mind control before we started the show. Here's an easy way. Here's an easy way to do mind control. Walk around giving everybody $1,000. Make sure they know that Midnight gave you $1,000. Here's $1,000 for you. Here's $1,000 for you. Hey, Midnight gives you $1,000. Oh, thank you, Midnight. Oh, Midnight, you're so wonderful. Everybody go watch Midnight's videos. Why do they do that? Because they want $1,000. That's what Mr. Beast did. He bought loyalty. It's not really loyalty, but he waved money in front of people, and he bought people not thinking too much about what he's really up to. They bought people not criticizing him. So
have you
I
guys,
saw.
Yeah, which makes me think of, have you guys ever seen, like, I don't know if it was like a documentary or like something like one of those news piece things like 2020, but they had it where they like had a briefcase of money and they hid it somewhere and like some homeless guy found it, and do you know what he did with it?
What?
He went out and bought a fucking truck, one of those Dodge Rams.
And what did he do with the truck?
And I guess he drove around with it, but
Oh, I thought there was gonna be like a punchline to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
Like,
I was wondering if it was because you were saying like
all right.
about because Midnight started out about like giving out $1,000 is like, but on that scale, I remember seeing something where they hid like a briefcase full of money and then a homeless guy found it, and instead of like bettering his life, he went out and bought a fucking truck.
Oh, right. Okay, there we go. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. How much money? Do you remember how much money was in the briefcase? Was it like $30,000, something like that?
Roughly, I think it was like
Yeah.
$30,000.
Yeah, I mean, that's tangentially related. The point is, if you want to mind control people, just wave money in front of their faces. The people that it won't work on are the people that don't trust people waving money in front of their faces. I am one of those people. I don't trust people waving money in front of my face because I don't like people trying to control me in any metric. You want to buy me, you want to pay me to do something, send me a contract and I'll decide if I want to sign it or not. But waving money in front of my face will not get me to agree with you on anything. I'm not common in that standard, I guess.
Well, I never have money waved in my face anyways, so.
You know, or you can do it with titties. Wave titties in people's faces.
Yes.
Watch how their opinions
Or
follow
even-
the titties.
Or even compliments. Fucking narcissists will do that a lot.
Yep.
They will like eat your ear, as we say in Spanish, which means they will like it's basically love bombing, right?
Yeah.
They will shower you with compliments and dopamine and shit just because they want you to think what they want you to think. I think, Mega, you've been witness to how often I've been bringing this shit up on Twitter lately, right?
Yep.
Like how for some type of people, it's really important that you think about them what they want you to think. And what is that if not mind control?
Yeah. Well, look at if you've ever, I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience at work. You know, I have a pretty good professional skill set. My opinion on anything in that skill set is worth considering. It may not be the best method, but it's an effective method. And I have many times worked for people who've been like, here's how I want to do this. And I've been like, I think that's the wrong way to do it. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to do it the way that you want me to. I will, but I think it's going to go wrong, and here's a better way to do it. Many of the people that I've worked for, when I say I think that's the wrong way to do it, will think that that means I'm not going to do it. And I've had a lot of problems because of that type of thinking. Those people are narcissists, and they're probably kind of stupid, which is why they were wrong.
That's another reason why I don't get along with the other trans people. Most of them are narcissists. And
Yep.
I was in a relationship with a narcissist. And
Yeah,
I
I
still
also-
feel the damage to this day, even though it's been like over 3 years now since I left his dumbass. But
That's what I told you on Discord back in the evening. Yes, that's also what I stay away from the LGBT community.
yeah. So yeah. So I think we're done with our LGBT what WTF barbecue discourse. So let's check out old Musky. Elon Musk turns the tables on BBC interviewer James Clayton, calling out their own flawed COVID misinformation policy. Clayton, this is not an interview about the BBC. Oh, you thought it wasn't?
Does the BBC hold itself at all responsible for misinformation regarding masking and side effects of vaccinations, and not reporting on that at all? And what about the fact that the BBC was put under pressure by the British government to change its editorial policy? Are you aware of that?
This is not an interview about the BBC.
Oh, you
so-
thought
Well,
it was?
pause this
Suck
for a
it.
second.
Suck
Pause this for a second. Do you think that this guy has an answer to those questions?
it.
No.
No.
Yeah, I don't think he does either, because his boss haven't told him what the answer is. He's a skinwalker. He is what his meal needs him to be.
Yeah, he needs a
Yeah,
script.
and, yeah, and did you see him as Elon was asking him the questions? He was just like, duh. He was just staring.
He was
but,
like, "How dare you?"
not confused.
He was on standby. He wasn't even making the attempt to
Yeah.
pretend to be having a conversation. It was like, nope.
Mhm.
That is an oligarch. See, Elon Musk is seen a lot like Donald Trump. He is not in with the oligarchy. So the oligarchs look at him as a misbehaving peasant with too much money.
Mm-hmm. And then notice here he's doing the laughter, the hyena laugh.
Yep.
And
I
because
shall
see now
know
why
bare
you don't
my
go to
teeth.
places. I am not a representative of the BBC's editorial policy. I want to make that clear. Let's talk about something else. We want to
I'm
talk about the
interviewing you
BBC.
too.
All right, let's talk about something else.
You weren't expecting that.
Let's talk about something else.
Does the BBC?
Let's talk about
Elon
something
Musk's
else.
level of "I don't give a fuck" is admirable, man. He does not give a fuck.
He deserves Twitter.
Well, he earned it. He bought it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally earned it.
So let's actually let me share this again and let's see what type of sneeding we can find in the let's see. You retweet the Epoch Times. Go away, cheat.
Pete Davidson?
Hmm. You have any in the chat? No.
Wait,
And
what are
then
you saying?
someone-
Who, me?
What? No, there was no one in the chat.
No, I just
Oh,
I just wondered if that Pete Davidson is the Pete Davidson who played Doctor Who and who also appears in Toast of War.
No.
Okay.
That's Pete Davidson. David.
Oh, all right.
Let's see. Anything else? Yeah, they're just actually these are positive where they're talking about how the BBC totally got owned. But because Elon is such a Chad, PBS quits Twitter after being labeled government-funded media. He is. So they left the platform a day after NPR's exit over concerns labels undermined credibility as independent news outlets. I mean, at one point they were, but then the government was
Were,
like,
were they though? NPR has always been subverted. It's just that things haven't been so bad that they were so bad, but they have been always subverted by whatever of globo homo existed at the time.
mm-hmm. And then PBS has quit its use of Twitter after the platform labeled the organization as government funded media. I mean, they were,
They still are government funded.
yeah, but
That's
then
right in the name,
but then
public.
most of the contributions came from like the viewers. That's why they always had the little tagline, also funded by viewers like you.
I would be willing to bet you can't don't quote me chapter and verse on this, but if you were to look at PBS's numbers, NPR's numbers, and you got a real accounting of it, the majority of their money right now comes from Eli Lilly or Pfizer or what have you. They're actually largely corporate funded, but they do receive government funded money. And when it comes to something like this, if you get money from Bill, Sally, and Timmy, getting money from Sally and Timmy doesn't mean you're not getting money from Bill. Bill being the government, getting money from anybody else doesn't mean that you're not getting government funding. They are government funded media.
Which also reminds, because even before this thing, when I was a young whippersnapper and I watched like Arthur and Martin of Redwall, or whatever shows they'd have playing on PBS, they would always have like a little blurb from Eli Lilly.
Yep, Eli. That's why I said Eli Lilly.
The spots I remember. But yeah,
remember, I'm in that. Well, I am now retired, but I was in that industry when we started this show. I was in that industry. I know a few things about those offices. You know, maybe I've been in their offices. Maybe I've seen that place from the inside. I have. You understand?
yeah.
Like, if I'm talking about, most companies, most media, don't worry about it. Keep going.
Oh yeah, I was saying that PBS announced its exit on Thursday, one day after NPR also left the platform amid comments by Elon Musk that NPR was state-affiliated media, which should be defunded. Twitter has since relabeled NPR as government-funded media, but that did not stop the radio broadcasters saying that labels for it and the television broadcaster PBS were aimed at undermining their credibility as independent news outlets.
It's not about what.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about whether or not the label is accurate for them. It's about whether or not the label helps or harms them. They use language to manipulate, not to describe. So because they know that the term state-funded media hurts them, so they don't want to be painted as state-funded media. They could get 100% funding from the state. They would still be against being labeled as state-funded media. Why? Because they're skinwalkers, and skinwalkers use language to manipulate, not to describe.
Mm-hmm. The labels are shared by Russia's Today and Chinese Xinhua, whose editorial decisions are heavily influenced by the respective state regimes, as USA Today noted. Meanwhile, NPR and PBS fall in the middle or neutral part of the Ad Fontes Media's bias chart. Doubt.
You know who isn't state-funded?
Who?
Epoch Times.
Right.
They're the Falun Gong paper. So they're run by the Falun Gong, which is a dissident religious group in China. You could argue that they're a cult. I'm okay with that. I don't see cult as a positive or negative. But yeah, they're not state funded. They're never getting a dime from China.
Right.
If China could get away with it, they'd burn every office to the ground.
I mean, isn't the rumor, well, maybe it's true now, but isn't it true that China likes to use Falun Gong members as like organ harvesting.
I've heard that. I don't know how true that is, but I've definitely heard that from multiple sources, and I don't find that hard to believe because China.
Well, I've heard that China uses pretty much everyone as an involuntary
Yeah.
organ donor, including up to and including the Uyghurs.
In China, you are what the party wants you to be. Period.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Basically, they see people as objects.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jason Phelps of PBS says the broadcaster staffer stopped using the Twitter after learning that the platform had relabeled them, and says PBS has no plans to resume at this time, but added that the organization was continuing to monitor the ever-changing situation closely. And then he adds, Twitter's simplistic label leaves the inaccurate impression that PBS is wholly funded by the federal government. Phelps added to USA Today.
No, no one said holy. No one said holy. They inserted that there so they could deny it,
Mm-hmm.
which is, a constant thing that they do. They insert things that weren't said so that they can deny it. That is very much what they do.
Yep. Then we will continue to produce trustworthy content that features unbiased reporting and holds governments and institutions to account, the PBS spokesperson statement added. Oh, the BBC was also recently labeled government-funded media by Twitter, but the platform relabeled it as publicly funded.
Where is the lie?
They are government. I mean,
Government,
BBC
yeah.
is government fucking news media.
Yep. I mean, it's right there. It's the British Broadcasting Company. All right. Let's go. This kid did not kill himself. From first
yeah.
Jack Teixeira. No, too bad Paulo went to bed because I need his Portuguese ass to help me pronounce this.
It's Teixeira.
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 You get a pull the accent. It's Portuguese accent is actually pretty similar to the Gallego accent, which is like our Western
Teixeira.
cousins.
Okay.
Teixeira.
Yeah, Jack Teixeira joins the League of America's infamous whistleblowers hackers. What happened to them? And yes, there's a car going off. So Jack, a 21-year-old U.S. Air Force official, has been arrested as a suspect for the largest intelligence leak in a decade. And he joins the ranks of Edward Snowden and Chelsea Manning.
Largest my ass.
Yeah. So he's
I don't think this is anywhere near the largest.
Mm-hmm. So he's accused of violating the Espionage Act for allegedly disclosing classified military intelligence data in a chat room for online gamers called Bug Shaker Central, which was a Discord.
Okay, so what's in the documents that he leaked? Now that they're out, I want to know what's in them.
He allegedly leaked leaked documents that contained information regarding the Ukrainian conflict and the U.S. spying on its allies. Basically, Ukraine is doing bad.
Yep.
There's U.S. troops in Ukraine.
Yep.
And what else? I think those were the main 2 points. Maybe
those are the two biggest data points I've gotten from the chitter chatter I've heard across our interwebs, is that Ukraine is getting their ass handed to them by Russia. Russia has by and large been pulling their punches, and the U.S. we have our own assets directly engaging with Russian forces.
Yep.
There's a reason why they don't want us to know that.
And there's the guy getting perp walk in a t-shirt and shorts.
What he did was stupid, but because what he should have done was leak it on Twitter.
Right. Let's see.
What he should have done, not because he did it on Discord in a private chat. He should have just posted it on Twitter. Said, "My name's Jack Teixeira. I am blowing the whistle on my government. They're lying about the Ukraine. They're lying about their involvement in kinetic interactions with Russia. And here's the truth." That's what he should have done. Because because if he had said the phrase, "I am blowing the whistle," that makes it dangerous for them to arrest him. Because he did it in a private Discord, it makes it look shady and questionable. And to some degree, it probably was. Because also when you put it on a private Discord, you're not blowing the whistle. From what I understand, he was showing that for clout, which was stupid.
Yeah, he just wanted to take out his dick and be like, "Hey, look what I can do, man."
Yeah, exactly. That was stupid.
But yeah,
he could have. The decision that he made was absolutely retarded. He probably should get some sort of break time for it. Probably not as much as Reality Winner, but he really should have taken a higher road for this.
Then they did something about Daniel Ellsberg with the Pentagon Papers.
Yeah. Where's Daniel Ellsberg? Daniel Ellsberg's standing on this issue right now. I bet you I know.
Let's see. Yep, the alleged, the Pentagon Papers were, this guy, Daniel Ellsberg, released 7,000 pages of, like, information about the Vietnam War and how it was the worst thing ever. Until Afghanistan and Iraq.
Yeah.
Fucking mad.
Let's see. The 92-year-old turned himself in and was accused of being a spy.
Wait, what?
No, wait, that was when he was, well, he's 92 now.
Wait, why is it saying that Ellsberg turned himself? What? Hang on a second.
I don't know.
Is this? Scroll up. Daniel, wait a second. Daniel Ellsberg just turned himself in?
Because I thought that was after he did it in like the 70s.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you meant like.
Here that the court discovered during Ellsberg trial that the Nixon government has launched an effort to harm Ellsberg by illegally wiretapping him and breaking into a psychiatrist's office. And all his crimes were dismissed. And then, unfortunately, Ellsberg has inoperable pancreatic cancer and has been given 3 to 6 months to live.
Oof.
That's rough,
Then
man.
they mention Edward Snowden and the NSA leaks. And Chelsea Manning from WikiLeaks. Wow. So I guess the hormones kicked in on Chelsea, but you can still tell.
I mean, dude, Bradley became Chelsea because he was playing the card and he believed it. He played the same card that Jenner played. Jenner played that card to get out of a vehicular manslaughter card. Bradley played this card to get out of solitary, and it worked. But now he has to keep playing it, or it stops working.
And then
remember, there are plenty of people that lie, that believe their lies as those lies come out of their mouth, and every additional time they tell the lie, they believe it a little bit more.
Yeah. Let's see. They also talk about Julian Assange for WikiLeaks, but we don't know what happened to him. But he had been hiding in the Ecuadorian embassy. And then Mark Felt from the Watergate scandal. Oh, and Robert Hansen.
I mean, the difference with all of these people is that they didn't leak it. They didn't leak their stuff on private Discord servers.
Yeah,
there is a difference here. I'm not saying that this guy shouldn't get break time. I'm saying it's reasonable to assert that he did more of a public service than a crime, but his public service was incomplete because he did it on a private Discord.
They also talk about the guy who. Oh, there's also Peter Buxton, the guy who reported on the Tuskegee syphilis experiment.
shit.
He went
Oh
to,
yeah.
yeah, he went to a newspaper called the Washington Star. And then Mordecai Vanunu, who said that Israel's got nuclear weapons. But yeah,
That
but yeah,
we gave them.
yep. So I guess that's that. So I don't know what
I was thinking earlier today. The majority of the odds that I'm seeing really look like the U.S. is going to be the way Russia was 15 years ago. That's not good.
Mhm.
And we're going to be that way real soon. That's pretty bad. We don't have any exports to speak of. Our currency isn't backed by anything. If this plays out the way that it's looking like it's going to, because our own government sold us out, we're going to end up with nothing to export, and our money is going to be worthless. We're gonna turn into a kleptocracy.
You also heard about the Bucareli deals or something like that.
What are the Bucareli deals?
It's a bullshit treatment that the president, I think it was Álvaro Obregón, sided with the United States uh, back in 1823. And it said that for 100 years, Mexico had to pay stuff to the United States. Oh, sorry, it was 1923. And that deal ends this year.
Mm.
So the United States is going to lose a source of income that Mexico has been given to them.
I mean, if you think about it, it's never really been income for us. It's really just been a leverage.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, because the whatever money we're getting from Mexico isn't really worth considering, but the leverage of that deal is what's important. And the reason I say the money isn't worth considering is because we send so much business that way without taking a percentage that is probably more than that money. But when you add it all up, that leverage is valuable. That goes away. There's a little bit more trouble for us. Mexico's probably going to be in a good position, though.
This is what they're saying.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
conspiracy theories that I know that say that Mexico is the place to be, especially the coast area. I think maybe the west coast. It's a pretty safe and okay place. I'm thinking of like maybe fleeing there if things go south.
Well, they
I'm-
say
I'm mega.
the whole of South America is pretty much safe because
Yeah.
I remember seeing like a map of a proposed like if we have a nuclear attack, the whole northern hemisphere is going to be wiped out, and the southern hemisphere is going to be barely touched. So most of Africa, the whole continent of South America, Australia, maybe India. If they don't start shit with Pakistan and like the southern areas of like Vietnam, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Australia.
I don't worry so much about nuclear conflict because what the fuck am I going to do about it, right?
Right.
But Omega, you know any of those goth cholas down there that they're like tortured writers with short time left on their lifespan? I'm just saying.
Right up their alley, man. Right up their alley.
Well, Midnight, why don't you just take what you got and go down to Mexico?
Because that's not how that works.
I did it.
I can't be stranded in Mexico, barely speaking the language. And when I say barely speaking the language, I mean Mexican kindergartners speak English better than I speak Spanish. You all know this.
You
Download the
can probably find
Duolingo app.
people who speak English in the border, though, like in the border area. Like,
Yeah, but I don't
Or
want to hang out with Ethan Ralph.
dictionaries.
All right. Just saying. I'm just saying. I didn't know many Mexicans until I went there to Cancun, and Mexicans are pretty fucking chill. I'll like Mexico.
Honestly, I would consider if there was like a realistic way that I could make a living in Mexico, I would think about it. I might not do it, but I would think about it. But I don't have the skill set for distance work. All of my skill sets are on site work, and I'm great at that. But there's no way I'm getting hired to do that in Mexico.
Yes, you have. You're an audio engineer, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I've increased my skill set in the same world, so I broadened that skill set. But yeah, I have live audio is my strongest skill set. I can run any stage you put in my hands except for an arena.
You can work in the dubbing industry. They always need audio engineers. I know it.
In the what end? Oh, well, that's different though. That's studio, and I mean I do recording stuff, but I don't know that I have a fast skill set on that. But Mexico does have events, right?
Yeah.
Mexico does have events, right? I mean, they have concerts.
They don't just shoot.
Oh yeah, shit ton of them.
They also like make concerts and shit.
Yeah, they are local.
I just have to not get fucking the wrong side of the wrong. Dude, the events industry is where the underworld meets the overworld. If you think about it.
Yep.
Yeah, I know this. I've barely escaped a couple of things a couple of times.
But there you have it. You have some skill sets that will allow you to pay rent and many stuff here in Mexico. So give yourself a little points.
Maybe I'll take a look around. We'll see. We'll see if I can find a place down the road from my mega.
Or you could. Or sure, so I had a yarn thingy in my stitch mark in my teeth. I was gonna say, or maybe you could just room for a Megan for a while.
Oof, I don't know that he wants that. We're not putting that on the table, Mega.
I'm just saying, if you motherfuckers are gonna be like close by to each other in Mexico, I'm totally gonna fly there.
So that's the first thought I had was maybe we can finally make the Canales Midnight Gator Ranch work. Hey, are there gator ranches in Mexico?
They do have fucking crocodiles down there. Right, Omega?
Gator is delicious.
Yeah, I think it was Kiki Bull who told me about it.
Like, I went to this resort where I was in Cancun, and they told us to be careful with the fucking crocodiles because there was like this ditch around the complex. Like, it was like next to the beach, right? And you have to go through a wooden bridge, really quaint, really beautiful. And it was like over this like micro swamp. It's like a ditch, but like full of like dirty water. There were fucking crocodiles in that. They didn't say gators; they said crocodiles.
Oh yeah, you're right. I remember when I went to that area with my family before the pandemic, and yeah, there was an area full of crocodiles and alligators.
So there you go. We can still find that.
The thing is, if you were able to handle the heat, because holy shit,
I'm fine with the heat. I'm cold blooded myself.
I did construction in August.
There you fucking go.
You can get work there too with construction.
I'm just. I look beautiful in a Hawaiian shirt. Midnight knows this.
That's true.
Me, I've already decided that my fate lies in Argentina. As fucked up as it is.
Well, if we got the ranch started,
there you go. If you see the happy pictures,
if we got the ranch started,
yeah, Midnight myself being really happy with our fucking crocodiles and a lot of Mexican beer and our guns and shit. Maybe you will change your mind.
The guns might be a problem.
No, I've decided that I want to live the gaucho lifestyle, just out on the pampas, grilling meat and sausages on like a literal bed frame over like a pile of like campfire, eating meat off a knife. That's the life I've decided on.
Canales, here's what we do. we design a recipe for Midnight Canalis crocodile bites.
Okay, I'm listening because I think I
They're
told
like,
you right. I had fucking alligator when I was in New Orleans twice. I've been to New Orleans twice, and I had alligator like tiny alligator bits, and they were really fucking good, man. I really like
yeah,
them.
it is good. It's like chicken. It's not
Yeah,
quite
it's like
exactly it.
chicken fish. It's like it's
Yep.
right there. You know, it's like fried chicken or like fish and chips. It's like right there.
I'm telling you, man, it will be the food sensation of the apocalypse.
I mean, it's an
Oh my God,
untapped.
there's our tagline. There's the company tagline. The foods Midnight Canalis crocodile bites, the food sensation of the apocalypse. Boom.
It sells itself. It sells itself, dude.
Now you got to go into Photoshop and make that a reality. Anyways,
That's pretty
I
good.
think it's getting. Do you want to talk about Harry Potter and how all the Troons are sneaking about it, or should we just leave it?
I mean, what else is there to say? J.K. Rowling got licensed to do a Harry Potter series reboot, and the Troons are losing their shit over it.
Yep.
Like they lose their shit every time they don't get what they want.
I mean, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad if J.K. Rowling didn't really double down on what she meant. I know she was trying to try to stick up for that chick who got yelled at by the Troons, but she decided to be a little bit snooty about it, and that's what made them.
That's the answer with these people. The answer with these people is never to capitulate. It's always to tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yes.
To me, the funny side of it is it's J.K. Rowling's feminism that opened the door for all this shit. So again, got to fight your battle, baby. You lost the grounds. You got to get it. You either get it back yourself or you lose it forever. Not my problem. Not my fucking problem.
Oh, we have Hero in the chat.
Oh, Hero.
Hey,
Hero.
See?
Yeah.
I think this is
Something
J.K.
about-
Rowling's fault. Remember, Yep.
I mean, wasn't Dumbledore always supposed to be gay?
But that's
No.
the thing. It wasn't relevant to the story. You could picture him as
Right.
gay, just as I did with Obi-Wan. This is a funny fact about myself. I always consider Obi-Wan to be gay because he was like this archetypal, soft-spoken British man who lived alone. You know,
Yep.
no relatives.
I got the same
no
impression,
wife.
dude.
Yeah, it's probably gay. You know, we're fine with that.
Oh God! Don't give Disney any ideas.
Well, they actually make him be bisexual. Isn't it?
Yeah, and fucking cross-dresser, and he likes to fuck donkeys when he goes down to Taiwan. It's not degenerate at all. It's LGBT representation, you know.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling invited in. She made Dumbledore gay so she could say, "Look, I'm a good rainbow ally, everybody. I included the gays in my child's story that I ripped off of Neil Gaiman."
Yeah, here it is. They say that a new book published by Disney reveals that Obi-Wan Kenobi is bisexual.
Yawn.
Who cares? Who cares? How is that relevant? Like it's like Obi-Wan's sexuality or romantic orientation is never mentioned in the movies because it's not relevant. He's a fucking Jedi Knight. He's a monk. They
Yeah,
don't have
he was a
any
monk.
proclivities. He's a fucking monk.
I remember before Everything's Gay happened, I knew plenty of gay dudes that were Star Wars fans. That doesn't mean plenty of Star Wars fans were gay, and that doesn't mean that they accounted for a significant portion of the gay demographic.
Everybody,
but
likes
of the
Star
people
Wars.
that I knew, like the type of people that I was going to hang out with, were going to be people that were into Star Wars. So the gay people that I was going to spend more time around were going to be people that shared my interest. They weren't demanding that anyone be anything. They were appreciating it for what it was. But it will never, ever be anymore.
Star Wars to me is pretty much dead.
Yep.
Even though I know my family will probably buy me all the Star Wars merch, but it's more like...
That's because they love you and they're trying to show you that they're trying to understand you. That's different.
I know.
I know you know.
I don't have a problem with it. It's like that I won't consume any more Star Wars media.
Yeah.
Star Wars has been damaged beyond repair, and as
Yeah.
someone said, they pull that fucking veil of the Force bullshit by which they can access any period of any place of the Star Wars universe, so they can like bring back Rey or bring back Ahsoka or bring back
Oh,
fucking
they are
Kylo
bringing
Ren.
back. Okay, Ahsoka wasn't that bad. They're bringing back Rey.
Yeah, no, I heard that. Like Ahsoka was fine. Ahsoka was actually interesting in the Clone Wars cartoon because she went
Mhm.
from an annoying brat to like not quite a Mary Sue, but a pretty competent warrior.
She
So
Well,
has
Ahsoka was your everyman in the Clone Wars. Think about it.
yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't
that
Anakin because he's the
he was
chosen one. It wasn't
yeah.
Obi-Wan because he's a trained.
exactly.
Yep.
He was a pretty
Ahsoka
good.
was the spunky, hopeful everyman.
Yeah, he was a good like audience surrogate because
Yep.
Anakin was too unrelatable because he was Anakin and nobody relates to
And
Anakin, and Obi-Wan is
the way that you know that Ahsoka was the audience surrogate is the way her heart breaks when he turns to the dark side.
Yeah.
Because your heart breaks with her.
Yep.
It's her you're following through that show, which
And
makes
it's
it a good show.
It's a good example of character development.
Yes.
Yep.
It's also a good example of a good female Star Wars character,
Mm-hmm.
unlike Rey, which is shit.
And I'm actually
I agree.
surprised that Daisy rightly accepted to return back as Rey because many will argue that character pretty much has ruined her career because after
Uh,
Rise of Skywalker, she has
Dude.
barely do anything.
dude, like
Count the
I
zeros
think,
on the paycheck.
I think she did like a voiceover for a documentary like Mongol women or some shit. But yeah, she got a worse deal than Mark Hamill, who forever became Luke Skywalker until he was able to voice the Joker.
Yep.
But like
Yeah.
Star Wars, Luke Skywalker pretty much killed his career. It's been much worse for Daisy Ridley because at least people like Luke Skywalker. Nobody likes Rey.
And on
Mark,
the other,
let's be. Mark Hamill isn't a good actor, really. Like, if you
No.
put Mark Hamill on camera, he's very limited in his range. There's like maybe 3 characters he can play, maybe.
Yeah.
He probably lost the ability to play Luke a long time ago, so really all he has is the Joker.
I gotta
Have you
say,
seen him play anybody else on camera?
while the Last Jedi was shit, he was actually pretty good as old disenchanted Luke. I thought he was
But
good.
that's bringing in the Joker. He's drawing on the Joker for that.
Okay, yeah, well, he had like this dry sense of humor, but I think he
Yeah.
was good. I think, well, I mean, he's like what, nearly 70 years old now, so I think his range expanded.
but even as a
But
voice
I
actor,
mean-
his range is limited because, for example, he
Yeah.
was a Skeletor in
yeah, no, and
Masters of the
he's
Universe
always,
Revelation, and you can hear him as the Joker.
yeah, and when
I
he tried
actually
to
think
voice
that
that
he
guy,
can do more than that as a voice actor. His voice acting range is less limited than his on-camera range.
I think Mark Hamill's problem is the face. Like he's forever like a pretty boy, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
the reason
He
why his
doesn't-
face is jacked up is he was in like a car accident between.
Yeah, and not even
Yeah.
that like gave in like any character because there's like this kid like Devon Sawa from Idle Hands. You guys remember that guy?
Yeah,
I
that was a good
Yeah,
one.
it was from the Sandlot.
From
Oh,
the first Final Destination movie, and he's old now. I think he's my age, like early 40s. He's fucking jacked, and he has like a really craggy, manly face. So he ages well. You know, he can play different characters. He can play like a drill sergeant now. But Mark Hamill is still like puny and short, and has like a weird, not like he's not like easily cast. You know.
You know, all these conversations you mentioned reminds me of Sasha Mitchell. You remember
Yes.
him?
Yeah.
Have you seen him lately?
Nope, not really.
He looks like a fucking Chad. He's jacked as fuck.
There you go. There you go. It's people that age well, and it's like DiCaprio. You know, I used to hate DiCaprio when he was a teenager, mainly because every chick in my classroom wanted to bang him and not me. But apart from that, like he's aged now, and he has like more character to his face, and he could pass like for a young, almost Jack Nicholson. You know, he ages well. Mark Hamill doesn't age well. I don't, doesn't have like a, I don't know, pleasant face. And yeah, as Hero mentions, he's also kind of an ass.
Yeah.
that accident that he was in, it was actually a motorcycle accident, and he was loaded. So he had a couple of, he had some problems that fucked his career that had nothing to do with his ability.
Right.
Plus his one son is a major soy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
And I think that soy kid knocked up this Chinese
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
basically, Mark Hamill blackmailed her into having an abortion.
but she didn't.
Oh, she didn't.
That's good.
Yeah, she ended up having the baby, and now I guess she's
basically.
trying to get like support now.
Basically, Mark Hamill is known to secretly having pulled all his Hollywood weight to have that kid aborted.
That's a pretty fucking horrible thing to do, man.
Yeah.
I had maybe 2 pregnancy scares in my life, and both times I wasn't decided on. I mean, they were when I was younger. They both happened by the time I was 25, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think somewhere around there, before I was 30. And both times I was like, well, first we have to figure out if it's actually happening, and then we have to have a real long fucking talk about how to handle it, which direction we go in. And I was open to all of the discussion. These days, I am not open to all of the discussion. But the idea of saying I expect you to get an abortion to anyone is horrible, man. That's a horrible fucking thing to do.
It's like, I'm gonna create a life. I was about to create a life, but it's not convenient for me. So just like, get rid of the thing.
Well, not even that. You were about to create a life, and I demand that you not do that. What the fuck?
Yep.
For my convenience, fuck. And the thing is, Mark Hamill could afford to put that kid through fucking private school and college, so there's no issue to be had there.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, you not, I'm being Mark Hamill to his son. You knocked some Chinese chick up, but you don't want to stay with her, right? Well, guess what? We're gonna take care of that kid. We'll do it together. That's the answer.
How old was the son when he knocked up that girl?
Yeah, let me. Oh, I think he was like in his early 30s. Let me look it up here.
I mean, dude, when you're in your early 30s, if a woman's about to have your kid, have the kid. Figure it out. Especially when you have the type of money that Mark Hamill has.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah, if he was a teenager, okay, I understand.
This is from the New York Post, but basically she's like a Chinese American ex-porn star. Her name is Megan Chen, and this was like in 2016, so the baby's already born. So and she was suing the court to establish paternity and collect child support. So she was with it was the son Nathan Hamill.
Yeah. I mean, establish paternity. Make sure that
Nathan was 37 at the time and
holy shit,
not ready to be a father.
37.
And
come on.
And daddy stepped in. What a faggot.
Yeah. Here, let me share the screen.
It's around the same age Pablo Arcadia had his baby.
Yeah.
I mean, the porn part is potentially a problem, but not necessarily, because it's like, to some degree, it's show business, right? And they both come from the show business world. There's a way to make that work.
Snake.
I would expect her to not be doing pornography while raising my son or daughter or certain.
It was a girl.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so I would not want.
Yeah, and they met through Tinder.
And I would not want the mother of my kid to be around people in that industry either. So that would have to happen. But there was zero reason. There was zero reason other than I think this is going to affect my reputation, which is absolute dog shit because show business is all whores anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that.
Let's see. But yeah, Nathan said, just told my dad. My mom is really upset now. Today has been a nightmare. I don't know how I'm going to last in this house with my family until July.
Nigga, you 37 years old. Get your own house.
Yeah. And apparently
Does he not have a job?
They say he's a toy maker and artist.
Then what the
The
fuck?
So
dude?
fuck
no.
does that mean?
I have money to move out of my house. I'm just like fine with my parents. What the fuck? You
I mean,
guys will
Canales,
probably just buy your fucking condo somewhere, dude.
you own a condo,
Oh,
technically.
yeah, I
You
do
did
own it.
buy a
Actually,
house.
that's where our friend from Valencia has been staying for the last
Yeah.
5 days. Like, you know. So what the
So,
fuck? You're 37. You're like son of a fucking millionaire.
yeah,
What's going on here?
there was, like, dude, that Mark Hamill could buy him a fucking house and he could work at a Trader Joe's for $15 an hour or whatever the fuck it is and live fine. When you don't have to pay for rent and you own, hell, they could buy a house and an investment property. Now he's got a home that he doesn't have to pay rent on and an income generating property. This nigga doesn't even have to work, yet he still lives at home with mommy and daddy. Almost, he's what, 43?
I don't know, but he definitely has the soy man child look to him.
You know,
Yeah, he's 43
I
years
would-
old.
So
there
he's-
is some
he's-
number of getting the shit slapped out of me by my parents that I have always been grateful for. It's just not 100%, but there is some percent.
Yeah.
Well, if what other people did to you contributed to making you the man that you are today, be grateful for them for that.
I'm just saying I'm glad I'm not a fucking little bitch. God damn fucking.
Yeah. But yeah. Soy.
But that's an old photo.
Yeah.
Just do me a
That is-
favor. Look for a picture of Sasha Mitchell in 2020.
Okay. Hold on.
Wow, that dude looks like a total Guido.
Post it, baby. Post it up.
Bro.
Both
Oh.
Sasha Mitchell and the other dude from
Yeah.
who's the dude from Idle Hands?
Devon
Devon Sawa?
Devon Sawa, yeah.
They both. I was gonna say they both look like they should be doing MMA, at least amateur. And from that picture, it looks like that guy might be.
He was an MMA fighter, isn't it? In his youth.
Was he?
Yeah.
He was in Kickboxer.
Yeah, he was
That makes
actually
sense.
he was actually in Kickboxer the sequel. I think that was him, like playing the third whatever brother. Like there were two brothers in this movie, and he was to be like the third one.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah. And it was actually written by David S. Goyer, the guy who wrote, all those fucking. It was like an early Joss Whedon, so it was like a darker, more mature version of Kickboxer, if such a thing was
Oh,
even
yeah.
possible. Oh,
Here-
shit, I
here's the
remember
lesson.
that movie. Oh god, that was terrible.
Put your sons in combat sports
Yes.
and don't hold their hands.
We have
Through
that
it.
planned already, right?
Yes, our children will fight the dogs for food, like the Koreans.
Very nice.
And we will also build like a wheel of pain.
Yes. There will be no wimps at Casa de Canales. Even if they live with us until age 40 or 50 or whatever, like I'm doing with my parents, there will be no wimps.
Well, I was talking with my mom because I talked with her about your situation. And we remember that, for example, in Japan, it's very common that the sons, especially those who have martial arts dojo, lives with the dads because they
Yeah.
inherit the dojo.
Yeah, and here it's pretty common. Like the only reason why kids have their own condos or apartment is because the grandparents die and they inherit them. That's what happens more often than not. It's either
The
that,
one
or you have like another another significant other, and you share the rent, because
the
like
one thing that
rent.
needs to be worked out, and I would say from like 19 till about 30. I'm not saying, how do I put this? I'm not saying this to brag or anything like that. Listen, if I did not have a fucking place to go and crush puss, I would have I would have lost my fucking mind. I would have lost my fucking mind. I would have shot somewhere up. That's the thing that needs to be worked out with that situation. You can't, dudes cannot be bringing chicks home to where their parents are and banging them there. The hotel, A, is an excessive expense, and B, it doesn't feel comfy enough. Having an apartment, even though I had roommates, was enough of my own fucking place that I could bring whomever to that place and, have
Feed
the
them the beef
enjoyable time that
needle.
we had. What's that?
Feed them the beef needle.
Yeah, exactly. Without worrying about who's going to hear it. Like, dude, I have many times when I had roommates, been destroying the furniture in my room and known that my roommates could hear it and did not give a fuck. But if like my parents were in the building, I would not, it would not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would be a
Yes,
problem.
no, I
So
absolutely like. There's people who have had sex in their parents' bed. I don't see myself capable of that. You know,
that's weird to me. Yeah,
that's fucking weird.
that's weird to me. And then I don't want my mother or my father or either of my step parents looking at me like knowing that I was
Laying
making
the
her
pipe.
scream. Yeah, like I don't want that at breakfast.
Yeah, I don't want to.
You know
I
what
don't
I'm
want
saying?
to just like look at the place where my parents live and think of like bouncing tits and sweaty butt
So
cheeks and shit
that's
like that. No.
the familial living thing is good and it is productive, but something needs to be worked out when it
Yes.
comes to the sanity necessity of young men.
Yeah, no, dude,
That's why there's so many like hotels around, like
Oh,
But they're
motels
not
around Lima, because everyone lives
hotels.
together.
Yeah, hotels are cost prohibitive over time.
Right.
I mean,
Like
if you have sex a lot of time, which is not my case because I'm Basque, yeah, but it's like an occasional thing. It's workable, but yeah, no, I insisted on having my own place. Actually, before everything went to shit in 2020, that was my number one priority in 2019.
Yeah.
Like I talked with my parents on, guys, I know you like having me around, and I like having you around because we get along really great. But I really want my own place, like to like just escape somewhere and be alone, be on my own. Maybe if I get late, bring the chick there.
And also
Yeah,
like
no,
there's a certain maturation that happens to your psyche when you
yes.
had, no matter how shitty the place is. Like my place right now is pretty shitty. My place in New
You know,
York
you know
was
what's important. You know what's
pretty
important,
shitty.
at least for a man's development, self-esteem, is being able to tell their parents, "Shut up! This is my place, and you'll do as I say."
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
for the first
Uh,
time, your mom comes along and tells you, "Oh, honey, your apartment is like really dirty. Like, oh, there, look at all the fucking clothes lying around. You need to tidy up." And I'm like, "Shut up, ho! This is my house. I'll do whatever the fuck I want in my house." It's like
I mean,
really
even just
important.
being like,
Maturation, man.
okay, you want that clean? The laundromat's down the street. There's a bag. You can go do it. It's my place. It's going to be the way I want it to be. If you want it to be different, you can do the work. You can't do that when you live with your parents. You have to at least cooperate with them.
Well, in my case, even when I was living with my parents, they knew that they were forbidden to touch anything in my room because
Yes.
I had my system. Had everything organized in my own way.
Yep.
So, for example, when my mom wanted to clean, the only thing that she did was, for example, bring the broom, take a dust here and there, but that's it. She didn't do anything else.
And boundaries in any type of living situation that involves any other person are probably the most important thing. This stuff's mine. Don't ever touch it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. What it was funny was with the food. That was hilarious.
Food doesn't bother me so much. Like I don't care if somebody eats my last hot dog out of a pack of hot dogs. I don't care. But that does mean that I'm gonna eat your hot dogs eventually.
I remember I had a shit ton of problems with my sister because I remember in one occasion she bought buffalo chicken wings and I ate all of them.
Oh.
Oh.
Also,
Look,
if you're a female and you have brothers, you have to expect that the brothers are going to eat food.
no, I
Yeah.
I have a rule, and everywhere I go, it's the same rule. If I see food on the chicken table, it's public domain for me.
On the chicken.
It's open
Wait, you have a
source
chicken
food.
table?
Chicken kitchen. What's the difference?
At the kitchen table, sorry.
That was a Freudian slip if ever there was one. You gotta watch out for Imega's chicken table, man.
No, you're right. It's afraid on sleep because I ate KFC yesterday.
Dude, so did I. So did I. Great minds think alike.
I haven't had
Oh,
fried
cool.
chicken in a while.
and I
better
had
get
and I
some.
had roast chicken yesterday. I shared a
fuck is
quarter of a
going
chicken
on?
with the meal.
I had hot dogs and potato salad.
We have Acker in the
Sorry,
comments
guys.
section telling you to come to
No.
Mexico. Gringo, ay, come to Mexico.
Oh boy.
What he says.
Chicken
All right.
table.
I'll take a look at what the job market's like. I'll put some feelers out to some companies because I actually have. There is a skill set. I'll tell you guys off air. There is a skill set that I have that's way less intense than my events career. That's actually worth some good money.
Dubbing
Yeah,
industry.
Yeah, I think we're gonna sign off in a little bit. Anyways,
Yeah, because it's time for me to be Betty Bye.
yeah.
Good.
All right.
I need to put that fat lump to bed because that is what a dutiful mate does to her
Indeed.
male. All right. So, what's going on this week? Who wants to begin? What are your plans?
Oh,
Ladies first.
Shut up, faggot. I'm just gonna draw and then go to the gym and then go back home and draw and same old.
Midnight.
I've got multiple IRL professional projects to work on, and so I have one that I really should have gotten done a week ago. So I'm gonna try and finish that by the end of the week. But it's all IRL shit.
Mega.
I returned back to work. My vacations are over.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the end of the Holy Week there as well, right?
Yeah, I had 2 fantastic weeks. But
Nice.
you know,
That's
and I had to finish my commissions because I had new commissions.
Cool. Eh?
Yeah.
Fucking killing it, dude.
Well, I got my PlayStation 5, so that's it.
Congratulations.
Hey,
Yeah, those commissions
Nice
pay
job,
for that
man.
thing.
As for me, I'll be working on my crochet stuff and working.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to seeing more crocheting. I saw the Yoshi one; it looks great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking talent for that, man.
You make a Yoshi? I have not seen it.
I'll show you. I'll show you after. So
Cool.
it's time to go. Thank you for joining us again on this wonderful Sunday evening. Come back next week. And after
Es una mesa de pollo, es una mesa de pollo.
That's awesome.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I'll do more of my.
and Mega, you better have like a warm up doodle of you making a table out of chickens.
No, if my table was made out of chicken, Keys will have already eaten.
Yep. Then draw like your chicken table, and then draw a kiss like taking a huge bite out of it.
Oh yes, he will eat the table if he was made of chicken.
Luna would too if I had a table, if I had any object made out of chicken. That fat little noglet. Anyways, everyone's saying
Fried
goodbyes.
chicken, I'll fucking eat anything. Fucking fried chicken, dude.
Goodbye.
Everybody have a nice
Bye.
night.
Adios.
Adios.